we grew apart. We had a marriage that didn't work. This happens. There's somebody I love and respect, but to whom I shouldn't be married any longer.
So yesterday, Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. It was no Diddy parties. It was none of that. None of that stuff. Well, happily, so I guess right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
The glaring facade of Hollywood's most talked about romance is crumbling. And behind the perfectly curated social media posts and red carpet smiles lies a storm brewing with enough force to rewrite the narrative for years to come. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, the golden couple of rekindled love, are now embroiled in a divorce saga so charged with tension and intrigue that it feels ripped straight from the pages of a scandalous tell-all. But this isn't just another celebrity breakup. No, this is a web of betrayal, hidden motives, an unresolved history that threatens to expose more than just the cracks in the relationship. It could unravel everything.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood, but one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
Let's start with the sheer spectacle of their marriage falling apart. From the outside, it seemed like a storybook reunion. 2 decades after their first ill-fated engagement, they found their way back to each other, reigniting a flame that Hollywood couldn't stop talking about. It was a narrative that felt almost too perfect, a second chance at love, a union that defied time and the odds. But now, with divorce proceedings underway, it's clear that the picture-perfect story was anything but. The whispers began with reports of tension over their clashing lifestyles, rumors of separate living arrangements, and public spats that couldn't be ignored. Ben's noticeable absence from key moments in Jennifer's life only added fuel to the fire, and then came the bombshell. Ben is reportedly ready to face Jennifer in court, not just to dissolve their marriage, but to fight, to oppose her in a way that suggests there's more at stake than just irreconcilable differences. What's driving this sudden and dramatic shift? Some say it's revenge. Others whisper about betrayal. But what's undeniable is the lingering shadow of Jennifer's past, a past that includes a relationship with none other than Sean Diddy Combs. Their whirlwind romance in the late 90s and early 2000s was the stuff of tabloid legend, marked by high-profile drama, public arguments, and a volatile energy that never really faded from public memory. And while Jennifer has long since moved on, or so it seemed, Diddy's name has resurfaced in ways that could complicate everything.
And that was after one of the security guards had already approached me to ask me, would I like to, come over and join him? So there is so many people involved in this situation that works the machine here that, Diddy's obviously the head of the whole situation.
Ben, it appears, may have stumbled upon something that changes the game entirely. Rumors swirl that he's in possession of information, damning, unshakable information that ties Jennifer to a world she's worked hard to distance herself from. It's not just about Diddy. It's about the parties, the whispered accounts of what went on behind closed doors, and the long-buried secrets that are now clawing their way to the surface. And here's where it gets even messier. Ben isn't sitting on this information. No, he's reportedly handed it over to the authorities, draining it directly into the hands of those with the power to act. If true, this move isn't just a legal maneuver. It's a declaration, a signal that Ben isn't going quietly. He's ready to set the stage for a battle that could leave reputations in tatters.
If they did in fact occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant, and not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, of engaging and voluntarily engaging in this conduct and being in those spaces, consuming drugs, consuming alcohol, and things of that nature.
For Jennifer, this isn't just a personal crisis. It's a professional one. Her carefully constructed image as a powerhouse performer, a business mogul, and a cultural icon is hanging in the balance. The public adores her, but how much can even her most loyal fans overlook? If this evidence truly implicates her in something bigger, something darker, it could mark the end of an era for J.Lo as we know her. And yet, she's remained defiant, continuing to promote her projects and face the cameras as if the storm isn't raging around her. Is it resilience, denial, or something else entirely? Of course, none of this can be fully understood without revisiting Jennifer's history with Diddy, a relationship that has always been as fascinating as it is controversial. Their time together was marked by a level of chaos that even the most seasoned celebrity watchers couldn't ignore. Public fights, legal troubles, and an infamous nightclub incident that landed them both in police custody painted a picture of a relationship that was anything but stable. And yet, their chemistry was undeniable, their influence on each other's careers significant. Jennifer's rise to global stardom coincided with her time by Diddy's side. And while she's long since outgrown that chapter, the echoes of their time together still linger.
Okay, so basically I was a Playboy bunny. So a Playboy bunny representing New York State. The reason why I need to clarify this is when you're a Playboy bunny, you are part of the corporation, and you are a bunny, and you do have a title and you wear a uniform, but you don't get a month.
What's particularly interesting is how their dynamic has shifted over the years. While Jennifer has built an empire and cultivated an image of strength and independence, Diddy's name has been dragged through a series of scandals and allegations that have only grown more serious with time. And now, as new claims against him come to light, Jennifer finds herself involuntarily pulled back into his orbit. The timing couldn't be worse. With her marriage unraveling and her name being mentioned in connection to lawsuits and allegations that are as explosive as they are damaging, it's as if her past and present are colliding in a way that feels almost cinematic. And then there's the lawsuit involving Jay-Z, a legal battle that has sent shockwaves through the industry and placed Jennifer in an uncomfortable spotlight. While she isn't named as a defendant, her presence at the after-party where the alleged incident occurred has raised questions that demand answers. What did she know? What did she see? And why has she remained silent? For someone who has always been so vocal about empowerment and justice, her silence on this matter is deafening. It's a silence that has fueled speculation and left the public wondering if there's more to the story than meets the eye.
If that's part of the indictment, that's somewhat like a blackmail. He was blackmailing people to be in the freak-offs. So that's federal. That could be that's a federal charge. He can't blackmail people to say, yo, listen here, you did it once and you're gonna do it again. That ain't gonna make it with the government or nobody.
As for Ben, his role in all of this is equally intriguing. By aligning himself with the prosecution, or so the rumors suggest, he's not just distancing himself from Jennifer, he's actively working against her. It's a move that feels deeply personal, as if he's determined to ensure that her secrets don't stay buried. And while his motivations remain unclear, one thing is certain, he's not afraid to play hardball. Whether it's out of a sense of betrayal, a desire for justice, or something else entirely, Ben's actions have added a layer of complexity to an already tangled web.
There has been some updates in the Diddy $100 million default judgment that we reported on earlier this week.
But what's most striking about this entire saga is the sense that we're only scratching the surface. The legal battles, the resurfaced scandals, the whispered accusations, these are just the opening acts in a story that promises to go much deeper. There's a sense of inevitability, a feeling that the truth, whatever it may be, is inching closer to the light. And as the layers are peeled back, one thing becomes increasingly clear. This isn't just about a marriage falling apart. It's about power, influence, and the lengths people will go to protect their legacies. And with every new revelation, the stakes only get higher. And yet, for all the tension brewing between Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, it's the second layer to this scandal, the one that pulls in an entirely different orbit of power players, that threatens to detonate everything. Because while a crumbling marriage is juicy enough for the tabloids, the real story lies in the tangled web of secrets that connects Jennifer back to her ex, Sean Diddy Combs, and the ever-deepening allegations against him. What started as whispers about his infamous gatherings, those late-night events shrouded in exclusivity and mystery, has erupted into a full-blown legal and cultural firestorm. And whether she likes it or not, Jennifer's name is now being dragged into the chaos.
Look at Diddy, for instance. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at him. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at. He has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now.
For years, Diddy's parties carried a sort of mythical status in Hollywood. They were legendary, exclusive, and cloaked in a level of secrecy that only added to their mystique. But now, as multiple lawsuits emerged, painting these gatherings as something far more sinister, the glow of glamour has all but disintegrated. What were once seen as decadent celebrations of success and excess are now being scrutinized as meticulously orchestrated events designed to entrap and control. The allegations suggest that these parties were less about illicit networking and more about creating leverage in the form of footage, recordings, and carefully cultivated dirt on some of the most powerful people in the industry.
It sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. it doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
And here's where it gets messy for Jennifer. The timeline doesn't lie. During her tumultuous relationship with Diddy, she was a regular at these events. While there's no direct evidence yet that she was aware of anything nefarious, her proximity to him during that period has raised eyebrows. People are asking uncomfortable questions. Did she know what was happening behind closed doors? Was she complicit in any way, even indirectly? And most damning of all, could she have benefited from it? Because as the lawsuits pile up, claims are emerging that suggest these recordings weren't just held for Diddy's private use. They were currency, a way to keep people in line, silence critics, and maintain control over his empire. But the real bombshell is the growing belief that Jennifer might have accessed some of this so-called currency herself. It's an explosive theory, one that paints her not as an innocent bystander, but as someone who may have leveraged her proximity to Diddy to secure her own position. Whether it's true or not, the optics alone are damaging. The idea that she could have knowingly, or even unknowingly, benefited from a system designed to manipulate and exploit has sent shockwaves through her fan base. For a woman who has built her brand on independence, empowerment, and resilience, this narrative threatens to undo years of carefully curated public image.
These are all allegations that have become shockingly familiar against Diddy in recent months as he has faced lawsuit after lawsuit from women and men who have accused him of all manner of bad behavior.
And then there's the matter of timing. The lawsuit naming Jay-Z as a defendant in an alleged assault from over 2 decades ago has reignited interest in one particularly dark night in 2000. It was the night of the MTV Video Music Awards, a glittering event that brought together the biggest names in music, including Jennifer and Diddy. According to court filings, an after-party held later that evening became the setting for an alleged crime so disturbing it has taken years for the victim to come forward. And while Jennifer isn't named as a perpetrator, her presence at the party has been confirmed. Photos from that night showing her in a heated argument with Diddy have resurfaced and are being dissected for clues. What were they fighting about? Did she see something? And if so, why has she remained silent all these years?
And we do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit.
The optics here are brutal. At best, Jennifer is an unfortunate bystander, caught up in a scandal that has nothing to do with her. But at worst, she's someone who turned a blind eye, choosing self-preservation over speaking out. And that's a narrative her detractors are running with. Critics are pointing to her history of carefully sidestepping controversies, arguing that this could be yet another example of her prioritizing her career over accountability. Supporters, on the other hand, are pushing back, claiming that she is being unfairly dragged into a mess created by men. But the truth, it's murky, and every new detail only adds to the confusion. And while Jennifer's camp has remained tight-lipped, the same can't be said for Diddy. His legal team has gone on the offensive, denying the allegations and dismissing the lawsuits as opportunistic attempts to cash in on his name. But their efforts to control the narrative are being thwarted at every turn. Witnesses are coming forward, new lawsuits are being filed, and the sheer scale of the accusations makes it impossible to spin this as a misunderstanding or a smear campaign. It's clear that this isn't going away anytime soon.
Now, if the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
What's particularly damning for Diddy, and by extension, anyone associated with him, is the sheer volume of evidence reportedly being collected. Rumors of recordings, flash drives, and even entire hard drives filled with compromising material have sent the industry into a panic. And while nothing has been publicly released, the threat of its existence is enough to make even the most powerful figures in Hollywood squirm. Because if these tapes are real, they could implicate not just Diddy, but an entire network of celebrities, executives, and power players. And that's a club Jennifer was very much a part of during her time with him. If the allegations against Diddy weren't already explosive enough, the sheer breadth of lawsuits filed against him in recent months paints a harrowing picture of abuse, manipulation, and unchecked power. Victims from multiple decades are stepping forward, each with eerily similar accounts of being coerced into compromising situations under the guise of glamorous opportunities. One accuser, known only as Jane Doe, alleges that she was lured into Diddy's inner circle with promises of career advancement, only to find herself trapped in a nightmare she couldn't escape. Her lawsuit describes a meticulously orchestrated environment where compliance wasn't just expected, it was enforced, and she's not alone. Over 100 lawsuits have been filed by individuals claiming to have been exploited in similar ways, each one adding to the growing mountain of evidence against the music mogul.
With this newest lawsuit, this would probably only expedite or increase the amount of allegations and potential witnesses who could testify against Sean Combs.
What's even more alarming is the way these lawsuits reveal a pattern of systemic enabling by Diddy's inner circle. Several plaintiffs have named not just Diddy, but also key members of his team, alleging that they played active roles in facilitating his alleged misconduct. From booking travel to securing private venues, these individuals are accused of doing whatever it took to ensure that Diddy's requests, no matter how extreme, were met without question. And while some of his former associates have denied these claims, others are reportedly cooperating with investigators, providing testimony that could prove damning in court. This widening circle of accountability suggests that Diddy's alleged actions were not isolated incidents, but part of a deeply entrenched system designed to protect him at all costs. Perhaps the most chilling detail to emerge from these lawsuits is the sheer premeditation behind the alleged acts. One accuser claims that Diddy maintained a list of potential targets, women and men alike, chosen for their vulnerability or their perceived value as leverage. Another lawsuit alleges that specific properties and hotel rooms were frequently used as staging grounds, with staff instructed to prepare them in advance for what can only be described as highly controlled scenarios. The logistics, the precision, the lengths to which his team allegedly went to maintain discretion. It all paints a picture of someone who didn't just abuse his power, but weaponized it. And while Diddy's legal team continues to dismiss these claims as baseless, the consistency across the accounts is hard to ignore.
And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
The potential fallout is staggering. Careers could be destroyed, legacies tarnished, and once untouchable figures brought to their knees. And while Jennifer may not be at the center of the storm, she's certainly on the periphery. Her name has been mentioned too many times, her connections to Diddy too well documented, for her to simply walk away unscathed. Whether she likes it or not, her past is colliding with her present in a way that's impossible to ignore. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of this entire saga is the sense that we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. With every new lawsuit, every leaked document, and every whispered accusation, the story grows darker and more complex. And as the public watches, equal parts horrified and fascinated, one question looms larger than all the rest. How deep does this go?
So I'll tell you, I don't know how much, I don't like to say things that I know unless I see it. That there's a little difference, but was it discussed? Was there descriptions from people I know that were at those? Yes, but here's another thing. So how many of these big entertainment parties and over the years and everything with as successful as you are, have you been around? Does anyone ever come up to you at a certain hour and say, okay, it's time to go? At those parties they did.
Because if the rumors are true, if the recordings exist and the allegations hold up in court, this isn't just a scandal. It's a reckoning. A moment that could redefine the entertainment industry and force some of its most powerful players to confront the consequences of their actions. And for Jennifer Lopez, a woman who has always seemed untouchable, it's a test of resilience unlike anything she's faced before. So what do you think? Is Jennifer an innocent caught in the crossfire, or is there more to her story than she's letting on? And what about Diddy? How far will the allegations go, and who else might get caught in the fallout? Let us know your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the scandals that keep Hollywood spinning. See you in the next one.